The Future Foundation presents a special message from the Fantastic Four. Welcome, moviegoers.
Hi.
Get your snacks.
Okay.
Settle into your seats.
We're all here.
And remember, silence those devices. Nobody likes distractions in the cinema. Right, Herbie? Make sure to see Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four, First Steps. Presented in brilliant Fantastivision. Only in cinemas July 24th. Enjoy the movie.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they heard. There's not enough time.
I'm not giving up. We will face this together. We will fight it together. As a family.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel has released even more Fantastic Four footage, a first look at Franklin Richards in the movie, an early look at Galactus' actual face. Like, they've been showing so much of Galactus from the back of his head, his feet stomping through New York City, but they've been holding way back on showing his actual face, so you can kind of tell they're trying to ease casual audiences into some of the weirder classic Jack Kirby vibes of the movie. Cannot wait to see people reacting to Galactus for the first time who haven't seen him in the comics before, but I feel like most people, even if they don't understand the Fantastic Four comics, know what Galactus looks like. They've seen his picture somewhere. We also just got that Thunderbolts post-credit scene with them arriving in the MCU with Franklin Richards in tow, and Marvel has been hyping up Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. He has been posting a lot, like Robert Downey Jr. has been posting a lot of Doctor Doom related stuff. So I've seen a lot of your questions about how this is all coming together this year and next year, what's going on with Franklin Richards. Marvel really is in the end game right now, just in general, heading into Doomsday, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Love the way Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom teasers make it seem like he's coming for Hawkeye first when he shows up in the MCU. If you couldn't tell, the reason why he's wearing this, why he has dots all over his face, is because they're doing his Doctor Doom armor as motion capture, and he's wearing a muscle suit to help them in post-production with the visual effects so that Doctor Doom looks super swole. If you remember the progression of the way they did his Iron Man scenes when he was wearing the armor is they started out with physical suits and a little bit of visual effects. Eventually they got to the point where he would just walk around on set with dots on his face, and they would do it completely in post-production with just a couple minor references.
And interesting enough to have audiences want him coming back.
So that is basically how they're going to do the Doctor Doom armor. And I also think all the scenes that he filmed for the Fantastic Four movie is a similar Thunderbolts post-credit situation where it was actually the Russos that filmed that Fantastic Four post-credit scene for Thunderbolts. I think that when Doctor Doom shows up in the Fantastic Four movie, in maybe the end of the movie or a post-credit scene, it'll be another Avengers Doomsday scene that the Russos filmed on the set of that movie, not the Fantastic Four director on the set of the Fantastic Four movie. You all probably spotted the background Easter eggs for Franklin Richards in the previous trailers, like Sue Storm being super pregnant. They're not hiding it anymore, telling Johnny Storm now, Ben Grimm, why she was late, quote unquote, all the jokes about her period being late because baby Franklin is on the way. During other scenes, you can see her standing over Franklin's crib that they put together in the Baxter building. There's a new scene of Herbie here also holding the instructions for how to build the crib, so it seems like they use him to help put it together. Later you see Sue Storm, afraid, concerned, as she's kneeling down inside their spaceship in her plain clothes. Notice she's not wearing her spacesuit on their spaceship, meaning this is probably later in the movie. Early theory, she's securing baby Franklin Richards in the spaceship before they take off. Maybe it's when they're leaving to come to the MCU universe where the Thunderbolts post-credit scene takes place after that 14-month time jump in that movie. Marvel also just released a much better look at him, and it was the actual toys. This is a very regular thing, like it wouldn't be a Marvel movie if the toys didn't reveal big details about the movie. Notice her Funko comes with baby Franklin. His size is a pretty good indicator for how big he's going to get by the end of the Fantastic Four movie. The title of the movie is First Steps, probably a reference to him taking his first steps. All the Galactus scenes in the trailers, particularly the new one too, with him stomping through New York City streets. The title, First Steps, also probably a reference to Galactus taking his first steps on planet Earth. So even though we haven't actually seen Galactus walking around with Franklin Richards talking to each other or anything like that in the trailers, I do like the way that Marvel is sort of paralleling their stories, or at least setting up a parallel between their characters, which is very much in the tone of the comics. We'll get into this in a second too, like why is Galactus so connected to Franklin Richards in the comics? But you can kind of see how the movie is laying the groundwork for that in this first one. There are also a lot of questions about why Galactus is able to do this, like practically why it actually makes sense. So Galactus can go from planet size to small enough to walk through New York City without crushing every building under his foot, because in the comics, he can change his size to whatever he wants it to be. He's actually done this on the TV shows before too, where he'll just modify his size to fit whatever situation or circumstances needed. The way that Galactus works in the comics, he's so powerful that different races around the galaxy just perceive him in different ways, which is why he has so many different appearances, and why when he shows up to Earth, he looks like a giant man wearing a suit with a huge helmet. There was another scene they released back at Comic-Con a couple years ago that leaked out showing his actual face, what it looks like. They probably polished this a ton since then. This is from a long time ago, but this is basically what he looks like. I think they actually released this, though, before they'd cast Ralph Ineson as the character. Matt Shakman revealed that they actually filmed all their Galactus scenes with a combination of motion capture and traditional visual effects. So they actually put Ralph Ineson in a suit, so to speak, so it'll look more like his face when we see Galactus in the movie. If you've not seen him or heard him, more important, I think, because the voice is more important, he is actually amazing. Like, he is going to knock this out of the park.
1 year hence.
Cannot wait to see what they do with Galactus after this movie. I don't think this is the last time that we're ever going to see Galactus. Like, he's just way too important of a character. Originally, the reason why he came to Earth in the comics that this is based on, this is called the Coming of Galactus story. It was just a 3-parter in the 1960s. Originally, the Fantastic Four were fighting the Inhumans and the Deviants, who fired a very powerful weapon at Earth called the Atmo Gun. Silver Surfer detected the power given off during that fight, and his deal with Galactus was that he would become his new herald, help him select energy-rich planets to consume, as long as Galactus spared his own homeworld. Silver Surfer had never been to Earth before, didn't care about humans, so he brings Galactus to feed on Earth, setting off their conflict. Now, I don't think the Inhumans are meant to exist in the Fantastic Four's universe during the movie, even though we did see them during Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness with that version of Reed Richards played by John Krasinski. I think the idea with the 838 universe is that it was just meant to be based more on the classic Marvel Comics 616 universe. I think after Marvel does a soft reboot after Avengers Secret Wars, we'll kind of get there in the main MCU movies, but because we're talking about after Secret Wars, it's going to take a couple years to get there. In the new Fantastic Four movie, they're kind of making it sound like Sue Storm gives birth to Franklin Richards in space while they're on some other mission, like they have some regular mission Reed Richards is studying something connected to the multiverse, just because all the equations on his blackboard at different points in the movie seem like multiverse equations in the background. I think it's just an Easter egg for the Jonathan Hickman comics where he builds the multiverse bridge, and this is to explain how they wind up in that Thunderbolts post-credit scene coming from their universe. But I think in the movie, the thing the Silver Surfer is detecting that causes Galactus to show up is the birth of Franklin Richards. Like, he's so powerful that he and Galactus have a very close, weird relationship across the comics. And because Franklin Richards was created in the 1960s, there have been a lot of changes, a lot of tweaks that Marvel has made to his character. Originally, he was not born a mutant. Marvel retconned this a little bit later once he started running into Agatha Harkness. I know everybody's been wondering, will there be some Agatha Harkness crossover? I don't think she's supposed to show up in the Fantastic Four movie, but they could always make that association in the future. There are a couple light references during Agatha All Along and WandaVision to Franklin Richards, the Fantastic Four, but they never literally said it in either of those series. If she eventually becomes his nanny at some point in the MCU going forward, it'd have to be Ghost Agatha becoming his nanny. When Franklin Richards was originally introduced in the comics, the way that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby explained how he got so powerful was that as a fetus growing inside Sue Storm, like real-life babies absorb nutrients through their mothers inside the womb, Franklin Richards was inadvertently consuming the cosmic energy that gave the Fantastic Four their powers. So Reed Richards goes to the negative zone, used the cosmic control rod to try and fix Franklin, and the cosmic control rod allows the user to wield the fundamental cosmic energy of the universe at the highest level. A nihilist used it to conquer the negative zone and evolve his own body. Reed Richards took it, and baby Franklin Richards siphoned off some of his power as he was being born. So at the time, Franklin Richards gains the power to alter matter on a universal scale, basically like a living god inside the Marvel Universe. It's a little bit like the way the Marvel movies have explained Scarlet Witch's power and how it's connected to the Mind Stone, how it amplified her natural powers way, way beyond their normal levels. Later, comics expanded on this concept of Franklin's powers and said he had the ability to create entire alternate universes, but this is why, because he absorbed part of the power of the cosmic control rod. A little while later, after Franklin had met Agatha Harkness, she became his nanny, the Fantastic Four face off against the Frightful Four. They established that Franklin was a mutant, and henceforth, he was a mutant. This is why you see a lot of crossovers with his character in X-Men stories, especially in present day now too, and we're heading into the X-Men, the mutant era of the MCU. I wouldn't be surprised if Franklin Richards has a lot of crossovers with the upcoming X-Men characters too. Now, at the time they canonized Franklin as a mutant back in the classic comics, they hadn't created the idea of Omega-level mutants yet, and what that really means is that a mutant's powers scale up without limit, or they're so great that they don't have the power to actually measure them. Like, we can't see how big your power is because we don't have a tool that's powerful enough to actually measure it. For example, you have mutants like Mystique that can just change their appearance, like fairly simple type of power, but like she can't truly mimic or copy adamantium. She can just make something that looks like adamantium. Then you've got Omega-level mutants like Storm that can control the weather across the entire planet and even cosmic storms at times. Now, there's been a lot of theories about why Galactus inside the new movie is obsessed with Franklin Richards. I think it's the idea that he just senses that his power is so great. There's a lot of wilder theories about the actual plot, but I don't want to get too deep into that because a lot of it is just speculation. But I do think that they're going to try and use Franklin Richards' power in Avengers Secret Wars eventually, like he'll become a critical part because Sue Storm is a big part of Avengers Doomsday, and it seems like she's going to keep Franklin Richards pretty close to herself because he'll still be a newborn relatively when Avengers Doomsday picks up. First step style, like he'll be a little bit older, but still incredibly young. So bringing this back around to Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, I would not be surprised if baby Franklin Richards and his power is connected to what Doctor Doom is doing. Anytime a character shows up and is that powerful, like you think The Mandalorian with Grogu, we're talking about Pedro Pascal into the Pascalverse because he's also in The Mandalorian, protects Grogu, everybody wants a piece of that power for their own reasons. So the early theory connecting this to the Thunderbolts post-credit scene is that Galactus shows up to planet Earth and still winds up consuming it, and we will see what it looks like when Galactus actually consumes an Earth. And the big idea is that they use this to motivate the Fantastic Four, drive them to want to save the MCU. So it creates some stakes for them, like, we lost our Earth, we couldn't protect it, because they spend most of their trailer telling the people of their Earth that they will protect them. What happens if they can't?
Your planet is now marked for death.
Reed Richards is able to save them by bringing them to the MCU. They show up and then meet the Thunderbolts characters who are now the new Avengers characters in that version of New York City, setting off the events of Avengers Doomsday. So part of the idea is that the Thunderbolts post-credit scene was actually filmed by the Russos on the set of Avengers Doomsday, not by the director of the Thunderbolts movie on the Thunderbolts set. So it's kind of like a Thor Ragnarok kind of post-credit scene where technically it's an Avengers Infinity War scene with Thanos showing up to kill the Asgardians and take the Infinity Stone from Loki. During the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, there's actually this line from Yelena where she talks about the crisis in space. Those are the incursions with basically other universes colliding with other universes, and it sounds like it's gotten to the point where it's so bad that they're now worried about that happening in the MCU, so they're just worried about anybody showing up from other universes. Thus, the Fantastic Four show up from another universe, freaking them out. There were just a bunch of other scenes from the X-Men universe in Avengers Doomsday that they're filming with a whole bunch of Sentinels at the X-Mansion, so I'll probably do a video for that and everything that we know about the upcoming X-Men movie too, completely separately. The new X-Men movie won't happen till after Avengers Doomsday, so like it's a completely separate thing, but there's just a lot of X-Men related stuff happening right now for obvious reasons. Everybody just hearing the theme song playing in the background 24/7. But everyone, let me know in the comments, if Franklin Richards is going to be so powerful, how do you want them to use him in the movies going forward after this? Everybody wondering, when are they going to release more Avengers Doomsday footage, like actual footage? That's probably going to be in December, just like all the previous Avengers movies, so you can set your watch by their marketing campaigns. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. They just released a brand new Superman trailer. Click here for all my videos for that, and click here for all my new Avengers Doomsday videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.